you still in the bowels of MetLife Stadium after the Ravens kicked the butt of the Giants today?
I am. I'm sitting here, and to be honest, DA, it's about 3 hours after the game, but the stadium looks similar to what it looked like in the fourth quarter. I mean, a lot of gray, empty seats. The only difference is I don't hear the shouting, cheering Ravens fans. There were so many Ravens fans at this game. Like, you said to yourself, wow, it's pretty empty in here. And then when Lamar Jackson made his first couple big plays, you started hearing these loud cheers, and you were thinking, wait, am I at MT&T Stadium down in Baltimore? Nope, I'm in New Jersey at MetLife watching planes fly overhead saying, John Mara, fire everyone.
How embarrassed do you think the Mara family is from the lack of Giants fans showing up, the complete apathy, the planes flying overhead, getting their butt kicks, obviously the record as well? How embarrassed are they?
Terribly embarrassed, especially DA. You know this. John Mara, if there's one thing, you can accuse him of a lot of things. The one thing he's on the record saying will never happen, that he does not allow, is tanking. And the only thing that people can come up with to rationalize what they're seeing right now is, well, the Giants are trying to get the number one pick. That gets under John Mara's skin more than anything, because he firmly believes in the integrity of the game, in putting a product out there that the fans and that the organization can be proud of. And I mean, listen, he's on the competition committee. You can't be considered one of the consciences of the league and a consigliere of sorts to the commissioner, and someone whose family and organization has been a staple and bedrock of the NFL, and be tanking your season and then excusing your general manager and your coach and your operation because, well, tankathon looks good because we're high up there with the Raiders. Like, that's so, to answer your question, that's how embarrassed they are, is that's the conversation. How that translates, though, to action and what they do, it's still up in the air. I would tell you this. Every Monday, the last 4 weeks, I've woken up thinking I might have a text message saying that's the day. And so far it hasn't happened, but it could be tomorrow, or they could wait till the end of the season. We don't know.
It is an impossible kind of middle nebulous area that the Giants exist in, because they're so bad, they're not trying to tank, and yet they're losing every single game. And so you'd say, well, Brian Daboll's lost the team. He's a bad coach. It's a bad team. You got to blow it up. On the other hand, I know that Mara wants to give Daboll and Schoen a chance to have their franchise QB, and the only way you get it is by letting them come back in 2025 and draft a guy this year. So is actually John Mara caught in the worst catch-22 ever right now?
Yeah, that's a fair point. It comes down to whether he agrees with me on this or not. I feel like they've already had their chance to get their quarterback. Like, you know, to say they didn't have a chance to get a QB would be to say that they didn't have a chance to draft Bo Nix. They did, right? They could have drafted Bo Nix. They could have drafted Michael Penix. Obviously, McCarthy ended up with the knee, so that could have backfired easily. They even could have made the home run offer to the Patriots to get that number 3 pick and get Drake May. Number 2 and number 1, those trades weren't going to happen. Washington wasn't going to give them Jaden Daniels in division, and Chicago wasn't trading out of number 1. But maybe they get to 3. And even Russell Wilson, they had him in the building, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are now the beneficiaries of them letting walk out of there. So whether John Mara decides I had my finger on the scale or my thumb on the scale, and therefore these guys deserve a chance to get their own QB, or is his decision, no, I let them do their thing for 3 years. They paid Daniel Jones, not me. They didn't draft a quarterback this year, not me. And so they had their chance. Like, I don't think that's an unfair way to come down on it, but ultimately that depends on what he thinks. I will say this, DA, you tell me what you think of this. We saw John Mara in Hard Knocks not force Joe Schoen to re-sign Saquon Barkley, even though he said out loud, I want him back, and if he does leave, I don't want him in Philly, right? So if he's not going to meddle there, why is he meddling in the quarterback and Daniel, but not the face of the franchise player? To me, it's either one or the other. And from my vantage point, this could be naive of me. I feel like I've been covering the Giants since 2016 on. This regime with Shane Daboll has been the most earnest attempt by Mara to not meddle. So, it's hard for me to say, hey, it hasn't been fair to these guys for 3 years because John Mara XYZ. I thought Hard Knocks showed us that. I mean, yeah, it's kind of awkward when your boss walks in and tells you what he wants to see and then walks out, right? It's kind of like even if he didn't tell you what to do, he kind of told you what to do. But I mean, from what we know in past seasons, like it wasn't just a suggestion. It was, here's what we're doing. So it is a complete mess.
I think they're going to let those guys get another crack at it. I think they're coming back in 2025. The problem is that it's so bad towards the end that Mara is almost embarrassingly going to have to give them an extra year. I don't think he wants to fire them. I think he's trying to stay the course badly, and I think ultimately he will. But it's so bad and so embarrassing towards the end that it's probably pushing him to a near breaking point. But I think ultimately he's going to give them that extra shot, and we'll see what they do with it.